Here, Frugal Rodeo Mom is how a lot of you know me. Some of you know me as Rhonda Niehaus, but some of you know me as Frugal Rodeo Mom. So anyway, happy Monday morning. I hope you guys are all having a beautiful start to your week. It was a beautiful weekend weather-wise. We ended well with high school rodeo. So yeah, it was just a really great weekend all over. And I will not be with you tomorrow. I will be traveling, but I will be with you on Wednesday and the rest of the week. Just going to go travel and visit with some friends. So that is what kind of sparked my thing today, because as I was looking for the cheapest way to go. So here's the thing is I'm meeting a friend in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So it's not like it's out of driving range or it would take too much to drive there. Stillwater, I think, is like 10 or 11 hours, something like that. It's not very far from where we are, right? So, but this is why I started this, because you just really have to sit and look at some things sometimes. And I wanted to bring this to your attention. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it, because we can't always be so frugal that we aren't having a good time. Okay. So, how to find affordable airfare and hotels. So, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. You probably all know it. Most of the time, if you're just booking a little trip for yourself, doing it online is the cheapest way. Now, if you're doing something like an all-inclusive stay and you want to know your options and that kind of stuff, I do recommend going through a travel agent at that point. Okay, go through a travel agent at that point, and then they can kind of give you your options and all of that. All right. But you have to sit and realize, when does it make sense to drive and when does it make sense to fly? So like for me, this trip, I looked at driving. I looked at renting a car and driving, just because I'm going and I would be leaving my car somewhere. Now I do have a son in Texas, so we could make that work. But I just figured up the fuel, and I got online and I looked at airfare prices for one-way tickets. And I'm not going to lie, they were about the same price as what it would be for me to drive. So then I have to consider my time in there. And I would have had a day down there and I would have had an extra day back. So I would have had to fly back from Montana, where I'm going to end up, back to Stillwater to grab my car and then come on home, which would have added another day to my week. And sometimes you have to weigh what your time is worth. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to drive just because of lack of time. Okay. So get online and look to see what flights are. There's all kinds of apps out there that have all kinds of different rates. I don't fly enough to use an app. Some people just have a favorite app that they use, and that's great, and they get discounts. I just get on and look and book it from wherever I can get it the cheapest. That's how I do it. But if you have another way to do it, if you get better discounts, great, do it that way. But I just get online and see what the cheapest is and what time I can fly out and all of that. All right. The other thing is a lot of times if you're needing a hotel, airfare and hotel these apps will bundle airfare and hotel all into the same price. But take a look at this. Call the hotel that you potentially could be staying at and find out what their weekly and weekend rates are. Because sometimes what they do is they bundle this stuff and it makes none of it cheap. Like the flight will be cheaper or the hotel will be cheaper, but the flight will be more expensive. So you just need to really weigh your options as far as what, make sure that you are getting a good deal on it. And sometimes it's a wash, sometimes it's like, okay, so we've got the airfare is the same, whether I get the hotel with or not, but I'm getting a good deal on the hotel. So I'm going to go ahead and book this because I'm going to pay this for airfare regardless, or vice versa. It can be like, okay, so I'm getting a deal on the airfare, but I'm going to be paying this for the hotel regardless. I'm just going to book it all at one time. Not a bad option when you sit and you look at it, but make sure you call the hotel or you find out what prices they have. Even if you're going to Vegas, guys, so sometimes the hotels and the airfare isn't any cheaper and it's more expensive. So you just need to think about that. All right. And then the third thing is our time is worth more than anything. So it may not always be in your best interest to think about driving, or it may be in your better interest to drive and not fly. If you can't get the flight back when you need it to, it may be in your best interest at that point to drive. Or like when gas was a lot cheaper, it was more, it made more sense at that time to drive because it was just way cheaper than flying. But when our gas is cheaper, so are usually flights because their fuel is cheaper. So there's that. So you just kind of have to weigh your options and look, but get online and browse and take a look and see what you have there. Okay. All right, guys, those are my tips for you today. My VIP Facebook group, you're going to want to be over there. That's where all the major action is happening. I've got free stuff going on all the time. So get on over there and take a look at that. Just the link is in the description for whatever video you're watching. And I will see you guys all on Wednesday.